Consider this, a country with a total coastline of 9,330 kilometers right next to the Pacific Ocean, and the Gulf of Mexico has no major cities on its shoreline. Sounds weird, right? That's the case with Mexico. Mind you, Mexico is a geographically vast country. In fact, the land area of Mexico is almost 282% of the size of Texas. On the coastlines of Mexico, you get everything you could dream of. It's a picture-perfect paradise that draws in countless tourists each year. The cities on the coastlines are popular tourist hotspots, Cabo, Cancun, and Tijuana, but they are just that, tourist spots. Most people in Mexico live in the inland area, and when we say most people, we are talking about over 12.2 million people. Mexico's bustling metropolises, those vibrant cities where the hustle and bustle of life is at its peak, are situated way off the coast. But why are people staying off the coast? Is there some danger lurking along the shoreline? Before diving into diverse reasons for this unique urban pattern, subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to never miss a video from us. Topography and climate. One of the critical factors that set Mexico apart is its climate. Mexico's geographic location along the Tropic of Cancer gives it a unique blend of temperate and tropical climates spread across the country, and these diverse climate types play a significant role in shaping the population distribution. Most of the coastal regions of Mexico fall into the tropical wet and dry, and arid climate categories. Translation: it can get hot and humid or scorching and dry like a desert. Not precisely the coziest conditions for human settlement. The problem with these climates is that they aren't particularly inviting for building thriving cities and communities. However, the interior of the country has a different story to tell. For example, Mexico City and its surroundings. It's like a sweet spot for climate enthusiasts. Most of this area lies within the temperate climate zone, arguably the cream of the crop when it comes to climate types in Mexico. It offers a more pleasant year-round weather experience with dry winters and comfortable temperatures. While the tropical coastal zones may attract tourists looking to escape colder climates and soak up some sun, native Mexicans have their preferences. They tend to gravitate toward areas with an appealing temperate climate. We can't blame them. It's like living in the Goldilocks weather zone where everything feels just right. The hot, humid, or blazingly dry climates along the coastlines don't exactly scream ideal living conditions. But that's not all. We still have to take hurricane activity into account. Mexico's climate has a significant impact on hurricane activity. Mexico is a magnet for hurricanes with its sprawling coastline and warm ocean currents. These tempestuous storms form over the toasty waters, often making a beeline for Mexico before marching north into the United States. And these menacing hurricanes are no joke. Their constant threat acts as a deterrent to establishing large coastal cities. Who wants to build a thriving metropolis when powerful storms are knocking on your door? Not the best recipe for a stable urban life, if you ask us. A geographical problem. With all the hurricanes and climate issues, Mexico's coastlines are not exactly a walk on the beach regarding geography. We're talking about rugged terrain, steep cliffs, and rocky shores. Constructing sizable cities along the coast is equivalent to crossing nature's obstacle course, challenging and quite impossible. However, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. Like its neighbor, the United States, Mexico is geographically distant from the nearest continent. They are both islands in a vast oceanic expanse. Mexico is separated from Africa and Europe by the mighty Atlantic Ocean in the east and Asia by the immense Pacific Ocean in the west. So when it comes to sea routes to other continents, they're not exactly easy. These lengthy journeys and the convenience and efficiency of air travel have made port cities less essential for facilitating transportation. So what's the point of investing tons of money in creating cities near the coastline if not even transportation is feasible? Exactly, not much of a point. A colonial problem. Mexico had its fair share of European colonization, like many other countries in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. The main culprits were the Spanish, who sailed there with their conquering hats on, ready to claim new territories. Unfortunately for the Aztecs, things got pretty grim. The Spanish went all out, wiping a good chunk of them and enslaving the survivors. It was a real mess. Now, remember that incredible city of Tenochtitlan? The one you must have read about in your history books. Well, that's where Mexico City stands today. The Spanish thought it was the perfect spot for their new digs. However, the weather didn't quite agree with them. You see, the East Coast's heat and humidity were like nothing they experienced before. So, naturally, they decided to set up their centers of power further inland. They wanted to recreate the comfy climates they were used to in Europe. But why'd they pick those particular spots? Gold and silver. The Spanish were all about that bling, and they knew where to find it. They set up camp near the regions teeming with these precious resources. And hey, bonus points, it also gave them better defense options. Inland cities were much easier to protect than those on the coast. Spanish were playing the long game, you see. By moving away from the shore, they made it challenging for rival European nations to lug their heavy war gear inland. Now, if we take a trip through time to the 20th century, things started getting wild in Mexico City after all the colonizers left. According to data wizards at INEGI, Mexico's trusty statistics agency, the capital population was a measly 500,000 in 1900. However, by the middle of the 20th century, that number skyrocketed to 3.1 million. We're talking about a 520% increase in just half a century. In the next 50 years, it welcomed another 5.5 million people, bringing the 20th century to a close with a grand total of 8.6 million residents. Currently, Mexico City has over 12.2 million people residing, far, far away from the coast. Economic woes. Now, when it comes to Mexico's economy, they've got their sights set on agriculture, mining, and manufacturing. But here's the thing, they have been giving more love to the interior regions than the coastal areas for all the reasons we discussed. As a result, those coastal spots haven't seen as much economic development, which has put a damper on the whole settlement situation. The infrastructure there isn't all that great either, making it a real challenge for big cities to sprout up along the coast. Here's where it gets more interesting. Mexico's all about land routes when it comes to trade. They're buddy-buddy with their northern neighbor, the United States, and they've got their eyes on the countries down south through the land route that cuts through Guatemala. So when it comes to the coast, they're low demand for seaports. But don't write off those coastal cities just yet. There are a few gems that are really shining. We're talking about places like Cabo, Cancun, and Tijuana. These bad boys have made a name internationally as hot tourist destinations. People worldwide, especially our friends from the United States, flock here for warm weather, buzzing nightlife, and laid-back vibe with relaxed regulations. And guess what? Tourism is a big player in the growth of these coastal cities. It's opening up opportunities that weren't around before. So here's the real deal. In the next decade or two, these Mexican coastal cities have the potential to transform into bustling economic hubs. With foreign investment pouring in and all eyes on them, they have a real shot at development and prosperity. Will they see a population rise? We will have to wait and see time do its thing. Enjoyed this video? Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. See you next time!